Okay, hi. So now that we've checked out some basic theory, let's talk about how we sit with the guitar so we can get up and running and actually practicing. So you may have been thinking, what's there to think about with a guitar? You grab the guitar and you sit down. It's actually more complex than that, okay? And you want to have, there's a ton of options, and you want to explore all of these and see what you like the best. And you may choose to play one way one day, one way a different day. Maybe it's a different guitar you're playing. Maybe you're sitting in a different chair. Maybe you're just feeling a little bit differently that day. So I'm going to show you a bunch of different options. As far as the test, whatever you want, as long as you're playing with good technique. So the first one is I'm kind of already in it. I'm just sitting with my feet flat on the floor. Okay, I've got the curve of the body of the guitar on my right leg. And basically I anchor this with my bicep, okay? So my bicep is kind of pressing down. The inside of my elbow is kind of right here at this juncture of where the shoulder of the guitar meets the face. And this is okay. It's not great. I personally don't feel so comfortable with this way. I feel like the guitar isn't quite as steady. And I feel like if I want to get up high at all, that it's awkward. So what I like to do, and what many people do, is to move the guitar up and over a little bit, okay? And throughout the history of the guitar, there's been people doing this. Even back in the 1800s, people were resting a guitar on a table while they play. Or another famous composer, guitarist, would put a little tripod that he would sit the guitar on. And you can still see those today, actually, the tripod thing. And then finally, someone invented what we call the classical guitar footstool. And I'll get into that in a second. But first, let me show you something that one of my idols for a while, Paco de Lucia, did, and many other people as well. And it's so simple. You just cross your right leg over your left. The only danger is if you're not feeling that flexible, if you've got hipster pants on, you might have a rip or something. But if you can see here, what this did was it put the guitar up and over. So now I feel more steady. I can let go with both hands. The guitar's not moving around or shifting, okay? And now I have decent ability to get up high if I want to get... If I want to play in these upper ranges, it's easier than it would be to have done something like that down here, okay? So this is the second method, would be just to cross your right over your left. Now, let's revisit that classical guitar footstool that I mentioned earlier. And just because the name is classical guitar footstool, you can play this with whatever you want to play if you feel comfortable with it. It doesn't look so cool in like a rock context or something like that, but it's very useful for practicing and for performing in a more formal context. So this would be a cheap one. They make some really beautiful ones. And this one has 3 settings. Most have 3 to 5. And it goes underneath your right leg or your left leg. When we put it on our left leg, obviously the guitar is on the left leg. But let me first finish showing you the right leg options before we do that. I'm just going to put this directly down underneath the heel of my foot. So it's going to ramp away with the heel here and the toes up here, okay? My foot is pretty much straight down beneath my knee. Now to me, this feels great, okay? Very easy to play, very easy to get up, over, feel comfortable, my shoulders feel normal, okay? Everything feels good. So that's what I'm on my right leg. But some people don't like this, right? Maybe it hurts your hip, hurts something. Let me show you a couple different other options. Guitar pillow, okay? So this is something made for guitar. They have different sizes. This is the smaller one. And again, right here, again, the bigger part is ramping towards the headstock. And then again, you can just move your guitar. This feels okay, Not bad, but again, you can see I pushed it up and over, and then I can get up here to this upper stuff if I need to. So this would be a guitar pillow. Let me show you one more. So this, I'm not really sure what this is called generically as a device. This company is called Ergo Play. They're the most successful company, so a lot of people just refer to this device as an Ergo Play, but there's a lot of competitors now with different models. Some have magnets on the inside of the guitar, some all different kinds. But this is Ergo Play. Again, they come in different sizes. And the same concept. Stick it on. Now the guitar, you can get up to those upper notes again without too much effort. It's kind of right there. One last one that I want to mention, and again, there's more than this. I mean, it would take a while, and I don't own all the different options that you have as far as products for guitar stools, guitar supports, excuse me. But the last one I want to mention that not too many people use anymore was traditional flamenco. A very famous classical guitarist, Scott Tennant, plays this way. And you'll notice it's on my right leg, but it's at this crazy upper angle like this, and it doesn't feel too steady, but just to show you as an option, this is my bicep is holding this. And again, you can play this way too, right? So this is with it just pushed up and over, but I don't, I used to play like this. It's up to you. Check it out. So let me just briefly review the different things that I showed you there, and I'll give you a drop-down list. The first one was just your 2 feet flat on the floor with the guitar on your right leg. Then I mentioned crossing your right over your left. Then I showed you 3 different devices that will emulate this position or simulate this, okay? And that was the classical guitar footstool. Then we had the guitar pillow. And then we had the Ergo play support or equivalent devices such as this, suction cups, however you want to get it on there. And then lastly, I showed you that you can actually just kind of put it up like this on your right leg, like this, okay? And remember with the footstool, any of those devices I mentioned, these 3, the footstool, the pillow, or the Ergo play, the suction cup device, that can be on your right leg or your left leg. But when you do switch over to the left leg, remember that you need to put the device underneath your left leg, the footstool, right? Or whatever, the guitar pillow, whatever you're using. And then we open up our right leg to shoot it out. The neck drops at a steeper angle, and we don't hit in the bicep like we did with the guitar on our right leg. We hit in the middle of our forearm, right? So this is more like this for classical position, okay? All right, so this would be how this would kind of work for classical. Okay, and so lastly, I just wanted to show the electric. The electric, you can use a strap, of course. This is not quite as cool looking as you might see in most bands, right? But I like to have it up higher because I play jazz or stuff like that I need to get around on a bit more. Remember the stuff where we started to see the guitar really, really low, whether it was punk or whether it was garage band music or grunge, that's not stuff that you're generally getting all over the entire neck. I'm not saying you're not playing with a lot of intensity, but maybe not quite as much precision where we need the guitar in the optimal placement. So I wouldn't recommend putting the strap super low that the guitar is down by your knees unless you're playing a show and you can handle all the music from that position. But generally I still like it up and over. However, when it is on the right leg, and just even without the strap, it's not as bad as the acoustic guitars because our body meets the neck much higher up at the 21st fret. Whereas on the classical, the body meets the neck at our 12th fret or our 14th fret for the acoustic guitar. So here I don't have that impediment or that block of the actual body here. So it's no problem for me to get these upper frets. No problem to get up here. Whereas on the classical, I would have to actually make some accommodations for that. So those are all the different methods. So experiment. If you can afford it, buy a bunch of these things, play around with them, and have, depending how you're feeling, depending what chair you're sitting in, but you just want to do yourself a favor and make sure that you're always sitting in the position so that your body is interfacing with the guitar in the most effective way for you to play with the least effort and the least amount of difficulty as we start to play progressively difficult music, okay? And that's when it will become more of an issue. Another thing to think about is if you're going to be playing for 20, 30, 40 years for the rest of your life, you want to make sure you don't have pain in your shoulders or your hips or anything like that, because believe it or not, even though it's not football, most of my friends who are professional musicians have had some kind of hand, shoulder, tendinitis, injuries, and we've all had to learn how to sit with as little tension as possible in our body. So that's really what I want you to get out of this video, is to sit in a way that feels comfortable for you and that you can practice and you can enjoy the instrument and everything's working with you instead of against you, okay?